जय हिंद बच्चों. Today we will discuss one more topic of chapter 6, that is nutrition in human beings. Right? In previous videos we discussed nutrition in single cell organisms, and here we will discuss nutrition in human beings. Right? So as we know, the nutrition in human being, it is their heterotrophic, means humans are they depend on others for food, right? And secondly, they take this material as a whole, and digest that food or material inside the body. So it's a holozoic nutrition, mode of nutrition. So they are heterotrophic and holozoic. Now if we'll see this, then first, if you see from outside, then you can see there is a mouth which is guarded by lips, and inside that there are teeth are present. Inside mouth teeth are present. So, and one more muscular structure, that is tongue, which is movable, right? So first food enters into this area, right? This area is also called, there is a cavity is there whole. This is called the buccal cavity, right? So here, what a material, first food enters in mouth or in the buccal cavity. Here these teeth, they chew this material and break down into smaller particles. And this tongue, muscular tongue, it moves this food material. And in the mouth there are glands, we call them salivary glands. So role of these glands is to secrete saliva. It's a form of liquid. So role of this saliva is to wet the food material. And secondly, it has enzyme. It's called salivary amylase. So this enzyme, it acts on starch that is present in food. So salivary amylase enzyme act on starch and digest starch, right? And it wets the food material, so make its movement in the passage. Its movement in the passage, there's a smooth movement in the passage, right? So this much happens in this buccal cavity, that food particles convert into small pieces or parts, and saliva, it wetted the food material for its smooth passage, and salivary amylase enzyme digest the starch, right? So after this, food enters into this food pipe or esophagus. We call it also food pipe. So it's a tube ends to this stomach, right? So in this food pipe, this food moves into the stomach through this food pipe, right? And in this food pipe, the action of salivary amylase remain active. Salivary amylase remain active, and the digestion of starch remain in this tube. And in this whole digestive system, there are muscles are present. These involuntary muscles, and they move. That movement is called peristalsis. So because of their movement, this food move in this system, right? So in the esophagus also, because of this muscular movement, food moves to stomach, and that motion is called peristalsis. Now food enters into stomach. So in stomach, this wall of the stomach, right, they have these gastric glands. So these gastric glands, they release three type of things or chemicals, or you can say enzymes, or so they release first HCl. So role of HCl is to create an acidic medium. And why to create this acidic medium? Because these gastric glands, they release an enzyme called pepsin. So this enzyme, it acts on protein, but it is active only in acidic medium. So just to make it functional, to make this pepsin functional, this HCl is released by gastric glands. So, and it makes the medium acidic. Right? And one more thing it releases is mucus. So this role of this mucus is to protect lining of stomach from the action of this acid. Action of this HCl. So mucus present protects stomach, lining of the stomach from action of this HCl. So gastric glands release HCl, mucus and pepsin. So main function is of pepsin is they digest protein. Clear? So in stomach there is no digestion of protein. Clear? And in mouth, salivary amylase digests starch. So two roles. And these HCl and mucus, their role is in the felicitation. Okay, like they facilitate the whole functioning. Clear? Now after that, from stomach, the food moves into small intestine, and it moves only in small portions. Okay? So, and that is regulated by sphincters. So from stomach, now food moves to small intestine. And in small intestine, there is release of this secretion from liver and secretion from pancreas. So pancreas is a one gland, another gland is this liver. So they both secrete their secretion in small intestine. So we'll discuss their role. So now what happens in small intestine? This liver, this small intestine, this is actually very long, but it is highly coiled and packed in a small area. That's why you call it a small intestine. But it is very long, and in herbivorous it is longer, and in carnivorous it is shorter. Because in herbivorous, because of digestion of cellulose, their length is required. But that is not there in case of carnivorous, it is shorter. Now, what does this liver secretes? So it secretes bile juice. Okay? So liver secretes bile juice. So what is the role of this bile juice? It makes food alkaline. Because the food comes from stomach to small intestine, it is acidic in nature because of the HCl. And pepsin need acidic medium for its action. But the enzyme released by these pancreas, they need alkaline medium. So pancreas release enzymes which need alkaline medium. And who makes this medium alkaline is liver. The secretion from the liver, that is bile juice. So the bile juice make food alkaline for pancreatic enzymes to act. And second role is there is to break down large globules of fats. So fats in food, they are in the form of large globules. So they are break down into smaller globules. Clear? Same way as emulsification that you must have studied in your smaller classes. Right? So this is about liver. It secretes bile juice, and this is their role. Now another secretion is of this pancreatic. So pancreatic, they secretes pancreatic juice. So what is in the pancreatic juice? It's trypsin and lipase. So pancreatic juice secrete trypsin. So role of trypsin is for digestion of proteins. Yeah. And role of lipase is breakdown of lipids or emulsified fats. Whatever fat the liver or bile juice has emulsified, that fat they break down. Clear? So this is the role of pancreatic juice. The trypsin digest protein and lipase is the breakdown of emulsified fat. Clear? Now what happens? Now food moves further into small intestine, and there this small intestine, they secrete intestinal juice. The wall of this intestine, they secrete a juice called the intestinal juice. So intestinal juice. So what is present in the intestinal juice? What is the role of this intestinal juice? They completely digest protein into amino acids, carbohydrate into glucose, and fats into fatty acid and glycerol. Right? So we have studied that in the mouth also salivary amylase act on starch. That is a form of carbohydrate. Starch is a form of carbohydrate. Clear? And in the stomach, digestion of protein is there. Right? Pancreas also digests proteins. Pancreatic juice, they also digest proteins. But whatever is left behind, or liver, bile juice, they emulsified fat, and pancreatic juice, they further break down this emulsified fat. So but when further this food move further into small intestine, then whatever food is left for digestion, then some proteins are left, carbohydrates left, fatty acids, fats are left, then this intestinal juice, they completely digest this protein into amino acids, carbohydrates into glucose, and fats into fatty acids. Right? So this is what we want after digestion. Yeah? These complex molecules, these are complex one. Proteins, carbohydrate, fats, bigger molecules, macromolecules we use. So finally what is the role of digestion is to convert these molecules into micromolecules. So now in small intestine this is completed. Clear? Now this food further move into small intestine. Now food is digested, it moves further into small intestine, right? So what happens to this digested food? So the small intestine, there is absorption of this absorption of digested food happens in small intestine. So this small intestine, if we see a section of small intestine, so this is the outer wall, this is inner wall. This inner wall, they have small finger-like projections. Like, so this is a portion of small intestine. Right? So, small intestine. So they have finger-like projections. These are called villi. So the role of this villi is to increase the surface area, so that more and more food can be absorbed. Right? So they increase the surface area. So in small intestine, food is absorbed, digested food is absorbed, right? And this absorbed food, and it is richly supplied with blood vessels. So the small intestine is supplied with the blood vessels. So food goes to blood, right? And from there it is taken to each and every cell, because each and every cell need food for what? For energy, right? So we take food for energy, and secondly for building up new tissues and repair of old tissues. So this is the role of food. So digested food moves via blood to each and every cell of the body, and there it is utilized for energy, for building of new tissues, and for repair of old tissues. Yeah. And now this food, whatever is unabsorbed, it moves further. If you see this digestive system, Now food is in a small intestine. So whatever is absorbed is there. Now it moves to large intestine. Right? So whatever food is unabsorbed, what is the leftover? It moves to large intestine. Now here water is absorbed from the food material. So from this material water is absorbed, and whatever is water absorbed, and this material is moved to the rectum. There it is stored for some time. Here is the rectum. Now from here it moves out of the body through anus. Clear? And in anus it is controlled. Exit of waste material is regulated here by anal sphincters. Okay? So it is regulated by anal sphincters. So I hope this is clear to you all. That is nutrition in human beings. So we'll take one more topic from the same chapter in next video. Thank you, students. Thank you so much.